Yeah. It's on. Yeah. Oh my God. Good night. Look at that tank. That's a toad, brother. Golly.
Wow, it is like truly awesome. It's not too awesome that we have the boss lady sitting in the hot seat with us. I mean, that's pretty darn cool this week.
How are you guys? It's been so
You know
long.
what?
I feel like it's been forever.
Hey,
I know.
welcome
Well,
to
a couple
the podcast.
weeks.
First of all, Randy, you're getting all gushy over this beautiful thing sitting here. We're running a dang on show here,
All
bro.
right. I'm sorry.
Listen, before we jump into this thing, we're not doing this live on YouTube anymore. We're doing it live on Facebook and Twitch. But you guys do me a favor and go watch the last video where I got the cops called on me in freaking Virginia. And I sat on that video and I thought about releasing it. Then I didn't. And then I thought about it and then I didn't. And I thought about it and then I didn't. And today I did. It's live right now. If you're watching this on YouTube, it's the last video. If you guys are watching this on Facebook or Twitch, it's live now. So go check it out. Not right now. Go check it out on my YouTube channel after you're finished watching this, because it's kind of BS, but I explained it in the video. So anyway, let's jump into today's video. We're going to be talking about getting divorced and bankruptcy. Okay, we're the kind of people. We're the kind of people that talk about everything in our life, hit it head on. We run our lives like we run our business. Okay, and what a lot of people don't understand is that Kristie and I were working on KBF together. She was helping me with KBF before we were married. Like literally one of our first dates was like, hey, I got this big tournament in Paris. You want to come? And she's like, sure. And she even dragged her kids out there and they jumped right in and started helping out. And then we got married there the next year. So here's the deal. I'm going to get elbowed if I say too much. And if I don't, she's just going to sit there and look pretty and smile until it's her opportunity to speak. And here's the deal. Everybody knows that I have been very vocal about going through some stuff. Okay. So before we go into anything else, I've got to say this. This woman right here is the reason I'm sitting here. No matter what happens, she met me at like the darkest time. She was the bright light in that dark time, but I dealt with some crap. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for her. Like she actually drove me to the hospital one time. So literally and figuratively, I would not be here if it wasn't for this woman. Even after, hey, I need to take a break. I need some space. I need to think through some stuff. I need to sort some stuff out. She was still there for me. She still sent me scriptures every morning and sent me uplifting messages and said, hey, this is how I found my way out of the dark, and I can't be your guide. You've got to do it. And she was right, 100%. So in front of God and everybody, thank you, because I am in the absolute best place that I've ever been mentally. I'm getting there physically. The two are playing off of each other. This amazing creature made it to where I could hire my son full time by driving the business in the direction to where we are able to do that. That has been one of the biggest blessings ever, because, just like any teenage boy, we had some friction. We butted heads. We went our separate ways for 2 or 3 years. He had to become a man. He had to find his own way in the world like we all do. And now we work together every single day. And I can tell you right now, if you'd have told me 3 years ago that I'd be doing that, I would have told you you're crazy. She would have told you you're crazy, because any young man 19 to 21 years old is full of piss and vinegar and crazy. But he's one of the hardest working people I've ever met. Takes after his old man, takes after his stepmom, at least for a little while longer. And he's had some good role models in his life, right? Like his grandma that just passed away recently. And we've just realized through a lot of things in life that the most important thing is family. So no matter whatever happens in the future, whatever a piece of paper says, whatever a status says, this person right here will always be family. Okay. First and foremost, my son and I are going to, and you guys have already seen the status. He brought the bar up already. Just like she brought the bar up on the KBF side, he stepped in and said, we got to do better with these videos, man. We got good content, but we got to do better. So he's really raising the bar and helping us get some of the backlog stuff caught up. And then we're just going to create amazing, awesome, educational, inspirational content. which is what I told her I wanted to do, which is why she took over running the company and left a very successful position in the insurance industry to come do that so I could focus on chasing my dream. So thank you. All right. One thing that I will say in front of God and everybody is that I will always love this creature right here next to me, no matter what. 3, 4, 5 months ago, I was down here in Huntsville, Alabama in the fetal position, crying like a little baby in my trailer. And this one still helped me through it. So here's the answer to the rumor mill. Are we getting divorced? We didn't even know until recently, 100%. We were still working through it, talking through it. But the answer to that question is yes. We are going to be getting a divorce. In fact, we actually had the conversation yesterday about the parameters, and there was no argument.
Right.
This is what you get. This is what I get. Pretty much I get the fishing stuff. She gets the fancy stuff. Bam. Easy deal, right? I said 3 or 4 months ago, all right, if you don't want to be, if you need this space and we potentially do go our separate ways, what about KBF? And she was like, what about it? I said, how much can I count on you to be there for KBF? She said, whatever you need. I'm vested in KBF. I'm vested in this community. They call her Mama KBF. You know what I'm saying? Like, I said, so even if we're not together, you're still comfortable working for however you want to call it, KBF? She's like, absolutely. And she's fantastic at it.
Right.
So here's what we ask, okay? And elbow me if I'm wrong anywhere, if I go too long. It's also private, okay? So we're being as transparent as we could possibly be, understanding that there's a certain thing that goes along with being a public figure, okay? It's just part of it, and we get it. But we also can just be two human beings that say, give us a little privacy. It's going to be tough, okay? Said I wasn't going to get choked up, but we're going to work through it, and we're going to be friends when we're done. I am 100% committed to that. She's 100% committed to that. We're going to figure out what our skill sets are best applied to in this company to make it the premier fishing organization in the world. And notice that I didn't say kayak fishing. Okay. We're going to make it the premier fishing organization in the world. So here's what we ask: a little bit of respect for our privacy, and let us just work through that part. And if you do, it'll be transparent to all you knuckleheads out there in the kayak bass fishing community.
Right.
And we will provide even better service, even better opportunities, and even more in the way of being a resource for the community. I've got the trail series schedule right here. And this one said, yeah, go ahead and tell them tonight. Let's throw a little sugar in with the vinegar. Because what do you always say?
You can catch more flies with honey.
You can catch more flies with honey than vinegar, right? She always says that. And trust me, guys, I got to say, again, in front of God and everybody, thank you for dealing with a lot of vinegar, because I was a very angry, anxious person. And now I feel so much better, which is weird, because if you'd have told me 6 weeks ago that I would feel better because she's not going to be my wife, I would have told you you're batshit crazy. That's what I would have told you. But now, because of how great of a relationship we have and how bright the future is and how blessed I am, how can I have a pity party when
Right.
This is one of my best friends in the world? You're one of my best friends in the world. I've got the best job in the world. So I'm super excited about the future. So we ask for some privacy. We do understand that there are certain people that just don't have respect. We live in an irreverent world right now. So for the people that don't show that respect and the people that want to continue to throw crap around, just let them. Just don't dogpile on it. You know what I mean? That's all we ask.
Yeah.
You know, is that pretty much?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like most people, everybody's gone through something that's personal and private to them sometime in their life. And they don't want people sticking their nose in business that doesn't belong when they're in the middle of that private, personal stuff. So I think everybody respects that if you look back to those times that you've gone through yourself. So yeah, that's all that we ask. I mean, trust me when I tell you, we don't want 1,000 messages on Facebook or text
glad
messages.
you said that. Hey man, I hope you're okay. Blah,
yeah,
blah,
we
blah.
don't-
Good God, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, we
yes, please don't.
don't text message or Facebook message. We know that you guys love us and we love all of you guys, but just don't text asking
God,
questions.
I'm so glad you said that.
Because having to answer the questions over and over. I mean, I'll just be honest with you. We've answered the questions completely to each other, and we're completely honest with each other. If you're asking us and we have to explain it over and over, do you know what I'm not able to focus on? Y'all. So,
and honestly, you want me to tell you what was giving me the most anxiety?
Is everybody
keeping
texting?
it secret, not being able to just say it and get it off my chest and have everybody understand. And one of the things that we went through is in our discussion as a couple and just as a public figure and all these things is this whole little white lies thing. Like little white lies turn into these big mountains. And it sucks when a really good friend of mine texts me and says, "Hey, you good, bro?" And I don't want to tell him that I'm not, but at the same time, if I don't, I'm lying. So it honestly, today, when she said yesterday, I said, "Hey, can you come down to Huntsville and let's do like a joint, message to the world?" She said, "Yeah, absolutely. What time do you want to be there?" I was like, "What?" First of all, she's blind as a bat, so she can't drive after dark.
I'm a little nervous.
So she's actually driving down here doing this live stream and driving back in the dark. So anyway, so if you want to say a little prayer, say a prayer that Kristie don't run somebody over on the way back to Nashville tonight, or she just stops and gets a hotel. So anyway, listen, enough about that crap. We want a little respect. I honestly feel better that it's out there and that I don't have to deal with the screenshots and the rumor mill and all that other stuff. Okay. It's out there.
That's the fastest way to kill a rumor.
Yeah. Just come out there and just
straight up
say what's going on.
So yes, we're getting a divorce. If I got some marriage advice for you folks, don't get married on April Fool's Day, because we did that and it turned out to bite us like a boomerang right in the butt. So, and then listen, if you've ever wondered if Kristie's as crazy as I am, the answer to that question is yes, because she's given up on all this, is all I'm saying. All I'm saying. Now, here's what we're going to say. Enough of that crap. Let's talk about the future.
I think the future is so exciting, and I think it's hard sometimes for people to wrap their head around whenever you're going through a major life change like something that we're doing, that we can still be so focused and so excited on the future. But we have some really big things going.
One of those big things is I said to her, "I want to live in a bass town." She's like, "Which one?" I said, "I don't know, like Decatur, Guntersville." Like I named off all these cities around Huntsville. So just so you guys know a little bit of the backstory, she was at a tourism conference and texted me from the table eating dinner with the tourism director from Huntsville. "Hey, what about Huntsville?"
It's right in the middle of everything.
Heck yeah. But what I didn't think is that Huntsville would be on board, because they don't actually have those bodies of water. They have the Tennessee River, which, by the way, I didn't realize how good the dang fishing is in the Tennessee River, like right here. And there's 30 little creeks and pockets and small lakes. And I'm only 25 minutes from Wheeler National Wildlife Refuge, which, by the way, if you've ever seen the video where she about stroked out on the side of the road one time because we went frog fishing in the middle of the night, and she didn't want to sleep. She didn't want to sleep in the rooftop tent or the hammock. So she slept in the cab with no air conditioner and about stroked out. That was at Wheeler National Wildlife Refuge. I used to drive to Wheeler 2 hours, 2.5 hours, fish for 8 hours, and drive back home 2 hours. And I always used to say to her, I just wish I could be in a town where I could go have a legit shot at a donkey every single time I go fishing. Well, listen, I'm in Donkeyville. I'm between Wheeler, Wilson, Pickwick, the Tennessee River. There's a whole Guntersville. Everybody knows Guntersville. I'm trying to name Cinderella's sister, not just talk about Cinderella. Everybody knows Guntersville. But I'll tell you what else.
Smith Lake's great.
Smith Lake, if you want to catch numbers and you want to get somebody hooked on fish, it's one of, if not the best spotted bass fisheries in the world. And the only reason it's not the best spotted bass fishery in the world is you only got to go a little bit further south to get into the Coosa chain. And then you got some ridiculous. So I am literally.
Flint River. That's right.
So you got the Flint, you got the Paint Rock, you got the Elk. You got all the little small rivers off the Tennessee River. You got all these creeks, Second Creek, Limestone. I have literally been like a two-peckered billy goat in a pen full of nannies since I got down here.
That is some Southern, y'all.
That was Southern.
Around, like, well, what it means, we
know what that means. Everybody
knows. You got more opportunities than
We all know.
apparatus. You know
We
what I'm saying?
all
So
know.
anyway,
Well, I mean, the really cool thing is because of North Alabama tourism, this is the reason why you guys are there. And we're going to take a quick break because we have a North Alabama tourism video that we're going to show for 30 seconds right now.
Here's some North Alabama places to go and things to do when we get back to business as usual. Some you can do today. Go to our Visit North Alabama Facebook page for updates. North Alabama, a dash of the unexpected.
man, it's more than a dash. And dude, I did not know you were going to grab that commercial. But listen,
so
we're in Alabama. Alabama was the last to not go COVID, and they're the first to go back to normal. So that little thing that guy said in there said, when we're back to normal, we're back to normal.
I'm pretty
You
sure.
wear a mask down here and you literally stick out like a nut. Here's another Southern one for y'all. Y'all write this one down. You wear a mask down here, you stick out like a diamond in a billy goat's ass. I'm just going to tell you right now.
All kinds of Southern colloquialisms going on tonight.
So
y'all.
here's the deal. Come to North Alabama. It is unfreaking real. I told her I would love to be here. In addition to getting relocated here for the business, and we're actually working on revamping the headquarters right now. We'll be in a full-blown podcast studio there. We'll be broadcasting we'll be broadcasting the events. You and I have talked about that on the side. We're going to turn the Trail Series and Pro Series into a truly produced show. And I just didn't know that when she found me a Bass Town, she was going to send me there and then just cut me off after that. Like I just But if you're going to get exiled, if you're going to get kicked out of the house, you know, people don't know this, but the name of my rooftop tent is the Doghouse. I tell people that all the time because that's where I go when I'm in trouble. Hey, listen, this new doghouse I'm living in now, I called her up and said, look, I really need a better place to live if you're going to, you know, if we're going to go this route. And she said, you deserve it. Find yourself something awesome. So big shout out to the folks that make the Grand Design Trailer Series. This thing is literally more comfortable than the house I grew up in. I grew up trailer trash and now I'm full circle back. But this is nicer than the trailer I lived in growing up. It's actually got the same amount of bedrooms as the house I grew up in, and I had a sister, so we had to switch out the couch and the bedroom. So that being said, let's get back to talking about the trail.
Yeah,
and
let's talk about next year, 2020.
No, let's talk about this year.
I want to talk about the national championship, y'all.
I was supposed to cue that up. Hey guys, listen, check this out. This woman has been working her butt off. Part of the reason that y'all texted me, hey man, I haven't heard from Kristie, is because she's had her head down doing presidential stuff, working on the big picture stuff.
I will have to say, I did not know when I took that position. I knew how hard it was to run a business. I've ran businesses before, ran them, built them, sold them, and that's it. It's great. But the personal communication that I had gotten accustomed to by not doing everything presidential, some of that has had to slip away. Unfortunately, there's only so many hours in a day, and I just don't have time to get back to everybody in a timely manner. And that is one thing that I have definitely missed. But I have had my head down, and I have been working hard.
And when you guys see the clouds open up and you see what's actually going to come out, you'll realize she was doing what she was supposed to do, which a lot of times I didn't because I was trying to do both instead of just doing what I should have done to grow on the. Anyway, here's the deal. I wanted to set the table for this. She's been working on the national championship for like literally 5 months, 6 months. Never actually really stops, but like doubled down on it. There was some stress.
Day after Shreveport,
there was some stress.
On it.
Well, there was some stress involved because we set the bar pretty high at Shreveport, and we were going back to Paris and going back to the original place for the national championship.
The original city.
The original city.
Let's clarify.
Well, I'm gonna let you talk about that, but
well,
the stress
it
was
alluded to it.
The stress was that we were going back to the original place, meaning the barn and the show barn and the horse stalls that we did the original national championships in, which gave her anxiety because construction delays and all of these things kept happening with the Paris Landing State Park and the Paris Landing Convention Center and all these things that were the whole reason KBF was coming back to Paris. And the whole reason that we left is they needed a few years break to double down on this magnificent facility. They stopped doing as many tournaments, and then we basically got back in line when we could. A lot of people talk smack about the whole Asian carp thing. If you think the Asian carp has hurt the fishing on Kentucky Lake, it's because you're thinking too much ledge fishing and all this. You're not realizing that Kentucky Lake still fishes for kayak fishermen the same way it did before. Mm-hmm. And in fact, I think it's even better in a lot of cases, because the rumor that there is this, oh man, that ledge bite's pretty much died, has gotten a lot less pressure on the fish that have moved up shallow and in the creek arms and humps and things that they didn't position on 3, 4, 5 years ago. So the fishing's phenomenal.
He can talk about fishing that later.
And
I won't talk about the place.
I was stressing. I'm not going to lie. I was stressing. Hey, where we at? Hey, where we at? I'm talking to Travis. Travis is the tourism director there. I'm talking to Travis. He's going to let me know when it's ready. And it was only like a week ago, week and a half ago.
It was 3 weeks ago.
Okay. It was only 3 weeks ago that she made the trek up there to see the unveiling of the lodge and the convention center and all this other stuff.
So when he says construction delays, like, it was supposed to be, that building was supposed to be completed late 2020. It's 2022.
And they're still caulking.
They're still building stuff. But 3 weeks ago, he was like, hey, we can finally go in. Like, they had rooms closed at the lodge, still not open because, like, they don't have AC units and things like this. And I was like, oh.
But we're good now.
So we're going to be at a convention center at the state park, not the newest building that they built because it's just not ready. The meeting space that they do have available will not hold everyone. Well, it won't hold everyone if y'all will get on Fishing Chaos and sign up.
I'll handle that part. You handle about the event.
So it is going to be phenomenal. Lynette and I we have met so many times, and it's just going to be, we always try to outdo ourselves and make you guys feel so welcome. We know that is such a commitment for you and your families to come to a city for usually over a week. Just the travel, the time away from your spouse and your kids and your job, everything that's involved with it. We know how stressful that is. And so whenever you guys roll into town and we start that captain's meeting on Tuesday evening, and we've handed out goodie bags and we've handed out t-shirts, we just want, from that first moment that we see you guys, for you to feel so welcome and so happy to be part of that. We feel like the national championship, and I always call it the national championship. Y'all know it's the championships.
For now.
It's a little bit of a sneak peek of what's later. But so the national championship is always just a huge time of community. And so Lynette and I have worked super, super hard making sure that whenever you're here, that you have time to spend with your friends that you may only get to see once a year. And because of COVID, there's still some people who they haven't been to a national championship since 2019 because of travel restrictions. So this will be the first one back for so many people. And it's so hard for us to realize it because we are on the road all the time and we really never stop doing what we do.
Oh, okay. You go to some conferences every now and then.
Some, yeah, y'all. Anyway, but we want everybody to feel welcome and excited. Again, as soon as you walk in and you check in and you get your goodie bag and your t-shirts and all of the welcome goodies. Obviously, we have the Lifetime Lounge. If you guys are Lifetime members and have experienced that before, I feel like every single year it gets better. This year is going to be absolutely no different. I'm not going to say anything about Wednesday night because I think that's a tournament director thing. But Thursday night, we have this huge kind of block party. It's going to be at that convention center, but just a good flex space that's inside, outside. Wonderful time for community. Everybody's just going to have a wonderful time. Let your hair down. Enjoy some music and some great food and just some good time together. And then, of course, we're going to split to that top 100 number on that evening. And then Friday evening is the big, I'm not going to even call it a formal dinner anymore. We kind of did that for a little while. Last year, I thought worked out so much better. I think everybody they enjoyed it, but it was still so relaxing and you still got to spend time with people. So we just have so much planned. We are not doing an expo this year. There's a myriad of reasons for that. A big one is space. I'll have to be honest with you.
Well, and just a lot of companies just aren't doing trade shows
Listen,
right now.
y'all, people figured out during COVID that they don't have to do shows anymore.
And ICAST was a third smaller than it was. And, just a lot of people are doing like maybe the Classic and maybe Red Crest and ICAST. Just not a lot of, not as much travel as they used to be. They've refocused their marketing budgets into ads and things like that. And so the expo thing is tough. So we're going to do the expos regionally via the rally series next year instead of trying to do the one big thing, which allows companies to be profiled closer to where they actually are.
Right.
But we'll talk about that later.
So anyway,
national championship format. Listen, there's a page, kayakbassfishing.com/championships, where everything's already laid out. Mm-hmm. It's already laid out what's going to happen Tuesday night, what's going to happen Wednesday night, what's going to happen Thursday night. Everything.
Everything's
laid out. Here's the
deal.
Y'all. I'm going to give you the preview. Tuesday night, mandatory captain's meeting. If you don't show up Tuesday night, you're going to have to show up Wednesday morning, because I always have to argue with people who don't watch the virtual and then act like we didn't say something. Mandatory captain's meeting. We're getting back to the community feel of this damn thing for next year, and we're going to start at the end of this year. So mandatory captain's meeting Tuesday night. First day of fishing Wednesday. No check-in Wednesday. Mandatory check-in Thursday if you want your points and if you want to qualify for the 100. But I got a bonus that we're going to put out for Friday for the people that aren't in the top 100. And the only way that you can fish that is if you come to the Thursday night and get your identifier for that event. And then Friday is going to be the night of champions and all that for the trail series and the challenge series portion. And then that's why we moved the championship award ceremony to Saturday. We understand that a lot of people are going to take off, but we also are going to give away all the stage prizes and all that kind of stuff. So plan on hanging out Saturday if you can. And then also realize we're going to do some drawings for some gear. Yak Attack's always awesome for a buttload of stuff. So it's worth coming to it, and it's supporting and showing support. He's awesome, man. Showing support for the people that did well in the event, and you would want that if you did well in the event. So show up Saturday. Now, one thing that we did this year is we went ahead and made Saturday and Sunday alternate weather days. We've just dodged the bullet and been lucky so far that we have not actually had that as an official deal. We just planned that we would audible if it really came down to it. But this year, it is formally laid out. You've driven all that way. You've spent all that time. We've done, and I can't imagine doing a national championship where the third day was raining or wind blowing and we just go, well, it's based on the first 2 days, so it's over. No, we're going to have an alternate weather day Saturday and a second alternate weather day Sunday. If we move to Saturday or Sunday, the awards will follow the day of fishing immediately, not like the next day, but we'll already have a plan. We'll already have our ducks in a row.
And we're just going to speak it into existence that we don't need those.
I'm just saying, if you plan, it's like if you wear your raincoat, it doesn't rain. So we're planning it to keep it from happening. That's where we're at. It's going to be a phenomenal event. It's going to be an opportunity to bring everybody together and really enjoy the event. We're going to have, I was about to say it. We're going to have the fellowship component to it that Matt Ball has been so graciously pushing at every event that he's going to do. And that will be part of every event that KBF does moving forward. It won't even be an option that we don't have it. We're going to build it into the timeline. We're going to build it into the event deal, and it's just going to be in there. So that being said, we are going to do everything we can to knock the national championship out of the park. This will be the last year that we don't have a guarantee. We had to get away from the guarantee because, let's face it, guys, were there any guarantees in our crazy world for the last 2-3 years? Things are getting a little bit more back to normal. Inflation's even somewhat, Joe Biden's actually fixed the world. So all you got to do is make everything really high so that you can drop it and then say you dropped it. I wish I'd have known that. We could have did that with KBF 5 years ago. Just make everything crazy high. And then when you reduce it, you can claim that you reduced it. Have a whole bunch of people out of work. And then when they go back to work, you can be like, created 80 million jobs. Anyway, I'll get off that soapbox. So we are going to go back to normal. So part of what we're doing moving forward is implementing and bringing back the guaranteed payouts, starting with this year's Ambassador Series Championship with the team component tied to it so that we can start to build the community feel. The team events moving forward are going to be team events. We're not going to have team events combined with the national championship like we do this year for the Top Team Challenge Cup. Next year, the Top Team Challenge Cup will be part of the Ambassador Series Championship until it's big enough to do its own thing. So stay tuned for that, and I'm not going to get off on a tangent. So we are really streamlining things with KBF. The Trail Series Championship is going to have a $25,000 guarantee next year. Asterisk, I'm just throwing this out there. That's the plan right now. $25,000 guarantee for the Trail Series Championship. Just so that makes sense, it was $18,000 this year, so $25,000 next year, but guaranteed. Okay? We already have a $50,000 guarantee for the Pro Series Championship, and we're sticking by that, even though we've only had some events with 20, 30, 19, 18, and we're still going to do the Pro Series next year because we're no longer doing the game of if things get tough, okay, let's just stop. And no, dude, that's not been my MO from the beginning. That's not been her MO from the beginning. So we're doubling down on the Pro Series. It's going to stay combined with the Trail Series next year, but we're bringing back the guarantees. And my goal is within the next 3 years to be back to not one, but 2 events with a 6-figure guarantee. So y'all go ahead and yammer about that. If you just think I'm blowing smoke, you go ahead and run over to the cesspool and all the places where you like to start yapping because you don't do anything. So you only like to criticize the people that do. But mark my words, because we've said it in the past and we did it. We're going back, and we're not aiming for 1 6-figure event. We're aiming for 2 or more. Okay? So again, get ready. Big guarantees coming. Better events. We're going to do less events so that we can focus on making each of them better. What you guys don't realize is before an event even kicks off, we're at $4,800 base cost between checks, trophies, travel, tournament director, real tournament management fees, all that stuff before we ever do an event. So when my crazy butt started adding events at the end of last year so that we could show more support to the West and put an event over here and put an event over there, we cost ourselves $50,000, $60,000. And then me running around the country to all of these events that I didn't really need to be at cost another $50,000, $60,000. So heck, there's one guarantee right there, just put back into the kitty, because I don't need that. And I don't need the tumultuous craziness in my life. That's part of the reason that we are where we are. And I need stability, okay? But for myself, and so you guys are just going to have to respect the fact that you ain't going to see as much as me running around. I'm going to make more videos. I'm going to do what I love. We're going to create a headquarters to do the podcast and a headquarters to do the tournament stuff. It's going to be like Sports Center, like, ba-na-na, da-na-na. Hey, we're coming to you this week from St. Clair, and we're in Huntsville doing it, okay? So here's the deal. She said I could announce the Trail Series.
So when it says like Trail 1, that's like week 1 of the trail, or the first, because that one would be confusing if.
Well, I'm just going to talk through it.
Okay.
And you throw in what you can throw in. Okay. So here we go. Trail Series announcement commences now. That way I can mark it in the timeline for the YouTube video. Boom. We're kicking off can I say the 10 and all that too? Like we're
that's
okay.
not the same. Yeah.
So we're doing the 10 Invitational and the Trail Series kickoff in Polk County, Florida this year. And a lot of people are going to be like, where is Polk County, Florida?
It's the same place.
Polk County, Florida is where everybody was fishing. We just made them drive to Kissimmee and fight Orlando traffic and all of that, which, again, big shout out to the folks at Kissimmee for helping us take the 10 to where it is. Those guys were amazing. They were great partners. They have Disney. They have all that stuff, so they were able to help us financially in a way that a lot of the smaller towns couldn't. But what happened was Polk County just kept saying, how are all these kayak anglers on all our lakes, but we don't get the event? And we were like, well, Kissimmee. And we talked to Kissimmee about it. And we said, listen, let's do something in the future that makes sense. Let's do something tied to Disney. Let's do something. So we've got some plans to work with them in the future on something else. But Polk County stepped up, and so did Camp Mac. Yeah. And Camp Mac is a fishing camp. The stage for the award ceremony is right there. The water is right there. You could literally launch behind the stage if you want to. The boat ramp is about 150 yards down the bank, and you're on Kissimmee. You can go the other way to another lake. So we're going to have pretty much the same bodies of water, but what we're going to do this year is we're going to pick a lake, and we're going to make it out of bounds for the 10. And then all the other lakes are going to be inbounds, and then that's the lake that the 10 is going to fish.
Correct.
So we don't have to announce that tonight, but we're going to Polk County, Florida, Camp Mac for the Trail Series. It's going to be the same weekend it always is, the last 2 days of January, or last 3 days, the last weekend in January. From there, we're going back to Columbia, South Carolina for Lake Murray. It's been a great event for the last 2 years. So we're going back again, but we also realize that there needs to be futurity to this stuff. So we'll do that this year. Next year, we'll go to Santee Cooper, or the year after that, we'll go to Santee Cooper, and then we'll flip-flop it back and forth between 3 locations in South Carolina. And one of those locations is going to be the host of this year's Pro Series Championship, which is Lake Hartwell, and it's going to be March 17th, 18th, 19th, whatever that weekend is. Basically, it's St. Patrick's Day weekend.
Yes.
And visit Anderson, South Carolina, Lake Hartwell, Pro Series Championship, $50,000 guaranteed first place payout. Giddy up. Now, back to the trail. After Columbia, we're going to Lake Havasu in Arizona. Okay. After Lake Havasu, which again, I'm working with the folks out west out there to put that event together. More details to follow. After that, we're going to have a joint weekend. We're going to try to do a couple of joint weekends, but right now we've only got one booked, to where Amanda and her team can have judges on staff that don't have to give up their weekend to only judge one event. They can give up their weekend. They can be judging 2 events. They can make a little bit more money, but they can also have events in different time zones, to where the award ceremonies that are at different times, the fish are coming in at different times, and it just works. So the 4th weekend of the Trail Series will be Grand Lake in Tulsa and Keystone Lake. Now, a lot of people are going, oh my God, I can't believe you're going to Grand Lake. Didn't you hear what happened to the bass event that was there? And didn't you hear what happened to Eric Siddiqui and this and that and the other? Yes. And it's the reason I haven't gone to Oklahoma, because I drew a line in the sand and said, I'm not bringing a tournament and its economic impact to Oklahoma until we work something out to where kayak fishermen don't get treated like second-class citizens. So back to this beautiful thing right here. She went to the tourism conferences. She met the people. And one of the guys, on the Tulsa Tourism Commission is a kayak angler. He's like, you know what? I agree. Let me help you, help me help you. And so at a very minimum, we've got a 2-week moratorium on for those of you that don't know, on Grand Lake, the Grand River Dam Authority makes it to where you can't cross channels. You can't launch until after sunset. You can't be on the water till after after sunrise, and you can't be on the water after sunset, and you can't be more than 150 feet from the bank. It's the most arbitrary, crazy crap I've ever heard of in my life. And this test deal will be the foundation for going and lobbying for there to be a permanent change to the rules. So this is what we do as a community as we come together. This is what your membership dollars help us do, is to go out there and fight these, I don't want to say injustices, because there's really injustices in the world, and not being able to kayak fish more than 150 feet from the bank doesn't rise to that level. But it's inequities. It's not fair when our license dollars cost the same as the license dollars for a person in the boat, which builds those boat ramps, anyway. So Grand Lake, but we're also going to do Keystone. And Keystone is not under that restriction. So if you want to fish Keystone, you can fish Keystone. You ain't even got to worry about it. But 2 weeks before that event, Grand Lake, the kayak fishing restrictions will be raised. There'll be a moratorium on it. And if you're in the event, you don't have to worry about it.
Yes.
That same weekend, St. Clair, we're going back, but we're going at the time when the moon phase is right, when the spawn situation is perfect, when there's not 4 billion wreck traffic boats there. It's not an hour and a half to get into the park. We're going to have it right back where we used to have it at Metro Park and Harrison Township, and it's going to be a slugfest. The last time KBF had an event there, 93 inches was 23rd place.
Right. Yeah.
The last time that the Michigan Kayak Trail folks were there, there was multiple 100 inches, and 90s were out to the 30s. It's going to be a slugfest. So we're going to have a killer event in Tulsa for the Western, Midwestern, kind of Oklahoma, Texas, Arkansas, Missouri, even coming over from Arizona in the West opportunity. And then something for those Northeast folks, upper Southeast, Midwest Great Lakes folks in the St. Clair region. From there, we're going back to Stafford, Virginia for the Potomac River because it's just a great event. I love the tidal fishery. I love the challenge that it presents. We're going back to the last weekend in April, first weekend in May, when the tide's right, when the moon phase is right, when the bite's right. And from there, we're going to Lake George. Lake George is tentative right now, but the plan is to not Lake George isn't tentative.
I was going to say
the
wait.
weekend isn't tentative. We are signed, sealed, and delivered. We're going to Lake George and the city of Lake George. And right now it's that May 20th, 21st weekend is the plan. And the only thing that's going to change that is if we decide to flip-flop and do Lake George and Tulsa together and move Tulsa back. But again, that's the only thing that could potentially change. That being said, Lake George is a done deal. We're doing Lake George one way or the other. The guys at Adirondack kayak anglers, kayak bass fishing are bad to the bone. Those guys are amazing. That fishery always fishes well. Kristie was able to establish a relationship with those guys, and they're going to support the event so that we can take the bar up at each and every one of these events next year. From there, we're going to Lake Chickamauga, pretty much where she's from. Born and raised, her home lake. And we're going to be based out of Chester Frost Park.
Yep.
And we're going to run it June 4th, 5th weekend, right when that frog bite, grass bite, all that stuff is juicy.
Good fishing.
It's after. I'd love to go there in the earlier part of the year where you can get that Alabama rig bite and catch 3 10-pounders on the same cast. The problem is you run into the potential for flooding. You run into the potential for crazy weather. You run into the potential for a freeze. You run into a potential for the up north is storming, so they release and blow out Chickamauga. So we just wanted to fish that premium fishery after school was out, when everything was dialed in. And we wanted one of those fabled fisheries to be the next to last event, but the last event in the east, and then another fabled fishery to be the last event in the west. So Lake Chickamauga, Chester Frost Park, June 4th and 5th weekend. Then we finished the whole trail up out west. We're leaving Clear Lake because we've done it for a long time. We've done it late in the year. We want to go somewhere where the bite is awesome, where the fishing's awesome, and where people are willing to travel from all over the country to go there. And we're going to go to the California Delta out of Sacramento, and we're going to finish up there either the second or third weekend in June. It just depends on permits and all that kind of stuff. So big shout out to James Snyder with Yakabas. He and I are working hand in hand to figure that out. We're going to do everything we can to support what he's doing with Yakabas, the way he's always done it with the Memorial Tournament and the West Coast Championship. We're going to continue to support all of that, but we're going to work on a standalone event for the California Delta. And I'm going to make it out to this event because I'm doing it early enough that it's not around ICAST or the Legends of the Outdoors Hall of Fame or any of that. And guys, here's the other thing. We wanted to end the season earlier for a couple of reasons. One, we know a lot of folks need to go to ICAST that are trying to be professionals or they have professional commitments and things like that. We also realized that a lot of the Ambassador Series kick off a little bit later, and then they end a little bit shorter than KBF traditionally did, and their championships and their events are in that June, July, August, September timeframe. And we also wanted a bigger gap between when the end of the Trail Series was and when the kickoff for the championships are. So again, next year, Trail Series Championship. Can I announce that?
Yeah.
Okay. Next year, Trail Series Championship is separated from the National Championship. The National Championship and Ambassador Series Championship will go back together at the end of the year. I've not decided exactly what to do with the Challenge Series Championship yet, so stay tuned for details on that. But we're going to Clay County, Florida
for the Trail Series.
For the Trail Series Championship. $25,000 guaranteed first place minimum. So what that means is you look at the payout chart, everybody from second place down will get paid out, and we'll make up the difference from wherever the payout chart is up to $25,000 if we don't hit it. And if we do hit it and blow past it, then the guarantee will be even bigger. Yeah. So again, we're not doing this rob Peter to pay Paul thing where we make the big guarantee, but then it's very poorly distributed out throughout the rest of the field. And that is one thing that we've been working very hard on. One big question that I keep getting asked is what's the future of the Pro Series? So I'm going to touch on that briefly. The Pro Series will stay the way it is next year. There will be no qualification for it because we just have not had the participation, the foundation, and everything that we need for it. So the Pro Series will be the same as it was this year. I'll go change the page relatively soon. You'll fish it, and you can fish the trails, and the trails and the Pro Series will be combined. 2 days for the Pro Series, 1 day each for the two trail events. And we may adjust the entry fee, and we may leave it the same. I've got a panel of folks that are helping me figure that out. I'm going to present that to the Ambassador Series folks. Kristie and I are also both running numbers on it, but I will have that announced, and these events will start populating on Fishing Chaos. But one of the things that we're not going to do this year is we're not going to put events out that are incomplete. We're going to have the venue, the date, the time, the all that stuff. Okay. And then the other thing that we're doing next year is we're fixing payouts. Payouts have been a problem for a number of reasons. Angler accountability, not having the W-9s, not having the right email in Fishing Chaos. And we're saying, hey, what payout method do you want? And then we get blasted on social media only to say, hey, guys, we've been reaching out to you for a week. So we're going to figure out a way, and I'm working with Fishing Chaos to develop a wallet type concept, but not exactly, because those wallets are very heavily regulated, and set up a separate bank account for that money so that money goes directly. And it's just not, we're not at the mercy of the BS that happens with PayPal and some of this crap like we've had in the past. And listen, I got to fall on the sword and say I'm one of the guys that led people down that PayPal path, and it was ideal when we were using it. There's just better options now. So PayPal will be an option, but we're going to work on better, faster options, and we're not going to wait on official results anymore. We're going to pay out and be done with it. And if we happen to have some kind of thing like happened with Gene or whatever this year, we'll just get the money back, but the other people will be paid out. And that's the bottom line. That's what we're doing. That's how it's going to be handled. And yeah.
You didn't talk about the national championship.
Clay County, Florida, Trail Series Championship, date to be determined. National Championship here in Huntsville. For the first time in my life, I get to walk out my front door to the national championship. Y'all get to come to me. I don't have to haul 15 truckloads to a location to get set up for it. And listen, it's not like I'm asking you to come to some substandard fishery to meet me on my terms. I'm telling you to come fish Gunnersville, Wilson, Wheeler, Pickwick, the Tennessee River, maybe Lewis Smith Lake, and we're going to draw 30 days before the national championship one of those lakes, and that lake will become off limits, and everybody will fish all the water that's eligible until the day 2 cut, and then the 100 will be on that lake, and everybody else will keep fishing for a guaranteed big bass payout the last day. Make sense?
Yep.
Now, I got to go back to this year's national championship for a second. I'm going to reiterate this. Mandatory captain's meeting. You can come see me in the morning to get your identifier if you can't make it. No check-in on Wednesday. Mandatory check-in on Thursday night for the party. Show some respect for how hard she's worked to put this thing on. And then Friday is optional, and so is Saturday. But it's dam to dam. I don't want to hear the BS about, I'm too far. Shh. I'm giving you a lot of water to fish. If you ever watch the Bassmasters Classic and somebody makes a long run, that's just less time they get to fish. So I am saying this right now. I am giving you a lot of water to fish. Shut up. I don't want to hear the crap about mandatory check-in. If you don't want to fish that much water and have to drive, either fish closer or don't fish the damn event. It really is that simple. I've learned that you just can't make all the people happy all the time, and you can barely make any people happy any of the time. And one thing that COVID has taught us is it really doesn't matter that much. You know what I'm saying? Like, honestly. So if you want to fish dam to dam, put that in your plan, but you're going to come to check-in. If you get caught and you don't make check-in, you're DQ'd. It's that simple. So if you fish 2 hours away, you got 2 hours less fishing time. That's how it works in every other major event. That's how we're working it in this major event. And that's how it's going to work at the national championship here next year. And it just is what it is. Okay? So
I want to say one more thing about the national championship. There has been some confusion Lynette and I worked to get the qualification list up. I guess maybe it's been 2 weeks. And I'm going to be 100% honest with this one. It's her. She gets so many questions every single day about where's the qualification list for the national championship. I only see the Trail Series championship and Challenge Series championship. One thing about those two lists really quick, the Challenge Series championship for August is obviously going to end tomorrow. And so as soon as I have those results, I'm going to update my job was the Challenge Series championship qualification list. So I'm going to update my side. Those two trails that just happened the last 2 weekends, we obviously have the results from those. And so Lynette is working on updating those. So those qualification lists will be complete. But will you talk just a minute about all the people who keep asking about the qualification list for the national championship?
So Lynette put the link up there, and I'm going to say it one more time. kayakbassfishing.com/championships. It also explains it on that page. The qualification process is you have to have fished in a catch, photo, release event. That's it. It could be a trail. It could be an online. If you don't have an event left in your local area, go sign up for the awesome Catch 22 challenge or the Fish Ops Catch 5. You're going to support a great cause, and it's going to count. Okay? I'm not going to create a list. We killed ourselves trying to create this list. And the idea behind the qualification back in the day was that there wasn't a lot of opportunities. So we wanted to make sure people knew how to catch, photo, release prior to getting there. Now there are 4 billion photos you can go look at on how a fish should look, where your hand should go. There are challenges and deductions showing. There are videos. I've done them. Chris Payne has done them. Freaking Gene Jensen's done them. There's 100 videos out there on how to fish in a catch, photo, release tournament. So here's the deal. The national championship, we'll just call it what it is. It's a national championship open. So it's an open for 2 days. When you make that top 100 cut, you're in the national championship. But I also want to say this. You aren't not fishing in the national championship if you fish those first 2 days, because you should be proud of yourself if we have a couple hundred people and you finish 103rd or 115th, right, 150th, because it's some of the top sticks in the world. But this event was designed to be in every angler tournament. I got a little too KBF-ish on it for a few years and worried about the BS. And there's a lot of people that got left out. There's qualifications that rolled because people were military deployed and I couldn't come because of COVID. So do I get it next year? It just became a nightmare.
It was a logistical nightmare.
And so I had to back up and say, why were we even doing this? And the reason was to make sure that people knew how to catch, photo, release. So there's plenty of opportunities now. You know those yard darts that we used to have as kids before everything got super safety? We could throw the thing up in the air and like it didn't come down and stick you in the top of the head. Well, you can't throw one of them up in the air anymore and not hit a kayak fishing tournament. So if you show up and you face the fish the wrong way or you put your hand in the wrong place, I have no qualms about DQing it and DQing you and all that, because there's plenty of information out there. Right. So I wanted to de-weaponize the national championship where clubs can't go, don't go fish that. We're not KBF and we're not shh. It's open. And if you make the top 100, you're in it and you're fishing for the money and you're fishing for the title. And I can tell you this right now. I think that there are more prestigious titles from the standpoint of elite wins. The Angler of the Year. Most anglers that are competitors or been competitors see that as one of the top accomplishments. I think winning the 10 is one of the most elite events in the game. I think the TOC is right up there. I think that, arguably it could be either way, whichever way you want to look at it. I think the Bass Nation Championship is the same way. Even regardless of how many people compete in it, the amount of people that are competing in it are freaking hammers. So if you win one of those events, you're a badass. But the national championship is that opportunity for somebody you've never heard of to become an overnight household name, at least in our community. And there are no KBF national champions that you don't know their name. But I promise you there's other series out there that people have won that you could be like, who was the champion for that again? And that's what we're proud of about that event. It is a potential star maker. And if you take that opportunity, like Matt Ball has done, like Kurt Smits has done, like Mike Elsie's done, and and Dwayne Taft and all those guys have done, and you parlay it, right? Like, you don't have to go out and win the event again, right? You don't have to be in the 10. You know, if you're Matthew Conant and you walk into an event, people go, that's Matthew Conant. That's, you know, that's the only Triple Crown winner in the history of KBF. Like, those people are a household name. It should open doors and it should make it easier for sponsorships and things along those lines. But at a very minimum, you can be somebody who accomplished. I won one of the biggest events in kayak bass fishing and one of the biggest payouts in kayak bass fishing. Right. And we want to take it back to its former level with that 6-figure batshit crazy payout where it's ignorant. But instead of having it go from 100,000 to drop to like 18 or 20 or whatever it was, I want it to be staggered, or at least that second place be staggered, and then everything below that be really freaking impressive. So we're getting there. We're this close. And man, this event here, not to look past, you know how fighters go, well, I don't want to look past that guy for the next fight. I don't want to look past Paris, because Paris is phenomenal. It's the home of KBF. It's actually where I married this beautiful thing. It's, again, don't do it on April Fool's Day. It is always will be a special place to me. Okay. It's going to be phenomenal. But next year, when we've had the foresight of being able to change the format ahead of time, this event next year is going to be the future of the way we do kayak bass fishing national championships. If we move it back to Paris next time, I'll tell you what we're going to do. We will have certain waters that are inbounds for up to the 100, and then certain waters, like, for example, we might make Barkley the championship waters or vice versa. So wherever we go for the national championship after Huntsville, it'll be the same format. There will be waters that are protected for the top 100, that are off for the top 100, and we're going to focus on making that as a lead event as we can for the national championship. And we're going to streamline and condense things down to where everything is clean. Everything is not as confusing. Like, I'm building those championship pages for the Trail Series and the Challenge Series, and that's going to be it, other than high school and college, and we'll talk about that later. So we are really committed to the future. She's got contracts out 10 years. So this crap about, like, is Chad and Chris are getting a divorce, so KBF will be bankrupt. No, it not only will it not be bankrupt, it is going to flourish like it never has before. And it's all thanks to you guys and your support and showing up. And we're going to double down on dialing it in even better next year. And yeah, man, that's it. I think we're poised for the future. We are working better together now than we ever have. It's crazy. It's almost like, why didn't you divorce me a long time ago? You know, I'm just kidding, but it's literally been the best 5 years of my life. And at the same time, I will love this woman for as long as I live. I can tell you that. And we'll always be family. But we have gotten to such better places individually and together by going through what we're going through. So again, just to finish it up, give us a little privacy. And thank you so much for being so smart to say, don't blow my text messages up. Don't blow her text messages up. Realize we are in the throes of one of the busiest times of our year, and we're doubling down and focusing on that. I am up at 4:30, 4:45 every morning. She's up at 4:30, 4:45. The only difference is she's going to the gym, like getting all swolled. I'm going to rig kayaks and shoot videos and do product reviews and things like that, and then go into the gym. So, guys, thank you so much for giving us this amazing life. Thank you so much for giving us this amazing opportunity to lead the men and women of this community, to help represent the best brands out there, to be able to break bread, and for us to truly have a real extended family. And for all of y'all that have supported me through some of the toughest stuff I've ever been through in my life, I appreciate you. I love you. I can't wait to see y'all knuckleheads again, but I'm going to double down and focus on me. She's going to keep hitting me over the head to help make me better, because that's going to make KBF better. And man, we're just going to lean into this thing.
Yep. 100%.
Cool.
All right. Well, you know what? On that note, we're going to make it an end of the show. We love you guys. At the same time, go to Paris right now on your computer, start booking your reservations, get everything set up for your championship run over there, and get ready also for the Ambassador Series Championship that's getting ready to go right there in the backyard of Mr. Hoover. So make sure you guys get everything rocking and rolling, and we will see you guys in a week again on Tuesday.
Love y'all.
Hey guys, I'm Chad Hoover with Kayak Bass Fishing. If you're looking to get in on the exciting sport of kayak fishing yourself, check out kayakbassfishing.com. Yeah! Boom! Oh, yes! What a freaking toad. So whether you want to find out more about competitive kayak fishing and kayak fishing tournaments, or just looking to learn more to make yourself a better angler, head over to kayakbassfishing.com and join today.